Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of the Total War Warhammer 2 Quest Battle Walkthrough. In today's episode we are going through the second quest battle, which is still in Tyrion's campaign, and that is called the Dragon Armor of Narration. The details. The Dark Elves attack Vaul's Anvil, confident that they can rid the world of one of the greatest threats to their power. But the volcano is not the best battlefield for the attacker. Its narrow confines mean the advantage is with the defender. Although an enemy as desperate as the Druki will not think twice before committing sufficient numbers to ensure Tyrion's defeat. Let's look at the enemy army. The enemy army has Malekith, three Black Ark Crosshairs, 1 Blackguard of Nagrand, 3 Witch Elves, 3 Dark Shards, 2 Cold One Knights, and 2 Harpies. It also says that reinforcements are expected, so I'm expecting there might be a second army. So let's get started with the battle. And as we see, just as I predicted, there is a second army. You can tell because there's 1,081 soldiers. Surprisingly for us, we have 122 allies, so somehow we will be getting some assistance. So let's get into the battle and see how it goes.
Elves of Ulthuan, to me! The scum of Nagaroth approach. They think to cage us in, but is the lion trapped when cornered by the rat? Do warriors squirm when confronted by weaklings? No is the answer. Gird your souls. Let them come. Very well.
Alright, so let's see what we have. We have Tyrion, we have a mage, we have a unit of Phoenix Guard, we have 4 units of Spearmen, we have 3 units of White Lines of Grace, we have 4 Archer units, 4 Silver Helm units, 1 Great Eagle, and 1 Artillery unit. So what I'm planning to do is I'm going to set up a front line using all the infantry units that we have. The purpose of this is to just halt the enemy's advance any further from going on, and also distracting the enemy while our archers and cavalry can do a lot of damage from the sides. Speaking of archers, the archers will be mainly used to take on Malekith because he is on a dragon, but also used to take out the Harpies, weaken the units coming in to attack us. I will send the cavalry on the left and right flank. Now, I will leave the first army alone in terms of using my cavalry because they have a lot of spearmen and swordsmen, so they'll be a big threat and the cavalry won't be very efficient. They'll just take more casualties than they'll do in kills. So I might just use them to take out the Dark Riders. But in the second army, they'll be used just to take out the Dark Shards and any other missile units or units that we deem necessary to be taken out by the cavalry. The artillery will be just shooting into where the majority of the enemy units are located so they can inflict as much damage as possible with greatest accuracy possible. And the mage, she'll be standing off to the side and just using her spells, and those are Soul Quench, which is quite powerful. It throws this ball into the enemy unit. Apotheosis, it restores health and causes fear to the enemy. A Hand of Glory, it increases melee attack and reload skill. And we have Tempest, which is quite a good thing because it causes major magical damage and huge randomly moving area of effect. But it's good against flying and strong versus a single combatant. So I'll probably use the Soul Quench onto large units of infantry that, like the Blackguard of Nagrand, while I'll use the Tempest to get rid of the Harpies and the generals. So, without further ado, let's get started with the positioning of units.
Without question, it will be done. It shall be done.
Now I want to position my archers on a bit of a high ground so they have a good angle. Now unfortunately for us, we are kind of being blocked up by our own infantry, but that's fine.
It shall be done.
Now I want the Phoenix Guard to stay quite close to the
Onwards to victory.
archers, just to protect them, just in case we were to get flanked somehow,
It will be done.
because the enemy does have cavalry of their own. So I do want to run into the position a bit, give us a bit of an advantage.
Eagle claw. Yes.
Now I have to move the artillery shots a bit further away so they don't actually end up hitting our own guys.
Spearmen.
That would be very bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just angle the cavalry in such a way so they are they can easily access the enemy's weak points.
Orders received.
As you say, it shall be done without fail.
Understood. Silver helm.
Now I need to engage the enemy to stop them from trying to flank around or do something like that.
Make Ulthuan proud.
So the cavalry would be very useful now just to hit these enemy units in the rear or wherever possible, because it will greatly lower their morale, and a good charge can inflict a good amount of damage. As you see, their morale went all the way down and they're already wavering. Oh, and routing too. But I want to conserve ammunition, so seeing as we're winning here, I'm going to tell them to hold fire and conserve this ammunition because we will need it. And I want to continue chasing these units until they have the skull icon, which means they are permanently routing and they won't come back. But seeing how close the second army is, I am forced to maneuver back into formation. But for the most part, the first army is already destroyed, which is very, very good.
Acknowledge. Attack. It shall be done. Apace.
Trying to move the artillery into a better spot.
Ulthuan mage.
That's not really worth doing.
Silver
Too
helm.
few men there.
Battle calls. At once.
I want to now move them out of the way of the archer fire. I'm just trying to flank around at the archers. And unfortunately, as you see, the enemy has Cold One Knights and the Harpies going on our right side, which means they could quite easily gain access into our flank.
At once.
Yes.
And now that they're getting quite close, I want to use the Tempest spell onto the enemy. Nope, never mind, that's only aerial units. What? So I'll wait for the Harpies to get close and then I'll use it on them. Because they aren't a big threat, but I just want to get them out of the way for already.
White lions, it shall be done. Understood.
Alright, and now I want to use this upon the biggest crowd possible.
Asa, attack.
It shall be done.
Oh no, our cavalry is getting quite beat up. But I really need to take out the enemy archers. Now I have to find Malekith wherever he is, so I can focus fire upon him. Now it would have been good to just shoot the enemy before they arrived, but at this point it doesn't really matter. Well, there's Malekith. Of course he's picking off our cavalry. A unit very important to our plan.
Acknowledged.
That's fine. So I want the Phoenix Guard to take out these Harpies that are trying to flank us. Oh look, reinforcements. Teclis reinforces our flanks. Our victory is assured. Destroy the remaining Druki.
Understood.
Drukai.
Sinner.
Silver helm.
Good. I see Teclis, the brother of Tyrion, has arrived.
Death comes.
Good. Will make victory much easier.
We will obey.
Our allies flee.
Silver helms!
Spearmen!
I want to focus my units on assisting here and taking out the units that aren't routing. Now let's go focus fire. Now what you usually want to do is you want to focus all your fire. Once Malekith gets close, you want to focus all fire of your archers, except your artillery, onto the enemy unit of Malekith, like on Malekith himself, so you can quickly take him out. Because he is a very strong unit that can take a lot of damage, and if he gets to your lines, you can absolutely devastate them.
Of Alaria. It is done.
Now normally I wouldn't have my artillery firing at him, but since he's flying up in the air, I don't have to worry about it hitting my own men.
Allies are fleeing! The Reaper!
Come on, hit him, we want to take him out. What? It's getting close. Well, now we see we have achieved victory. Yeah, we're not going to take out Malekith today. Oh well. Usually you manage to take out Malekith before the army even starts routing. Ah, lucky. Alright. Well, as we see, that is victory. Our Phoenix Guard was quite important at keeping the archers alive.
Our magic is strong! Our allies abandon us!
Oh look, it's Teclis himself.
The winds are rising! The winds
So what you want to do in this battle is basically form a front line to try and block off any enemy movement, so it's hard for them to flank you with all your infantry. Then place your archers behind them, but try and put them on the high ground so they have easier access into the enemy lines. Then what you want to do is you want to have your cavalry on the left and right flank, and the purpose of that is to, once the first army engages in hand-to-hand combat with your army, the cavalry can make very fast work of them. They can just charge in behind them, and that will devastate the morale and quickly rout the unit. Once the first army is dealt with, you want to quickly get back into the same formation, but then have your cavalry once again go to the left and right flank and move them as needed to take out the enemy archers, because the enemy archers are very powerful. You just want to use the mage to combat, using the spells to slow down the enemy units and inflict a lot of damage. And Tyrion, you just want to use him to take out the enemy heroes or their strongest units, because heroes in this game and generals are very powerful units. Sometimes they can take out multiple units by themselves. So don't worry about Tyrion too much. Just let him deal with the enemy as they come. And then the Phoenix Guard you want to position, of course, close to the archers and artillery, so when the Harpies or Cold One Knights flank you, you can easily assist without taking that many casualties. So now let's end the battle and see the results. Alright, this went very well. We deployed 1,515 soldiers and we lost 529. So we have 986 left. Now, our allies only took 28 casualties. That's of course because they arrived when the majority of the enemy was routing, and they were just to assist with the cleanup, I guess. They fully routed the enemy army and helped chase them down. The enemy lost the majority of both armies. The first army deployed, which I believe would be Malekith, had lost 744 soldiers, with 443 of them remaining, while the second army of 1,081 soldiers lost 958, so that means only 123 of them are remaining. So all in all, this was a very good victory. And as you see by the kill count, you see that the cavalry was very, very effective. They got a lot of kills in flanking and attacking the archers. And the artillery was quite useful as well. Now, the archers didn't do as much as I wanted them to do because I forgot to turn back fire at will. I just turned it off for them to conserve ammunition while the first army was routing. But all in all, this was a very good outcome. We crushed 2 enemy armies. We lost maybe a third of our forces, which I would have preferred less casualties, but it happened as it happened. And this is probably the outcome you want. So just form a front line with your infantry, archers behind them with the Phoenix Guard protecting the archers and artillery, cavalry on left and right flank to hit the enemy in the back when they're engaged in hand-to-hand combat with your infantry, and then use them to take out the enemy archers. Use the mage's spells to your advantage, and use Tyrion to slow down enemy heroes and generals, and things like that. And the Great Eagle is great at assisting the cavalry in their actions. So thank you for watching, and I hope this video was helpful in beating this quest battle on your own. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you watching next time. Thank you, and goodbye for now.